Reality Redemption. Another episode. Let's do a roll call. In the house, we got Tricky.
Tricky Trisha, right here.
We got Steph.
Yes, hello.
We got Aaron.
I am here. I am present and accounted for.
All right, and we got Snow on the phone. Snow? She must be, she hasn't mastered the unmute part of it. Hopefully she clears that up before Tuesday night.
She's
okay, so Snow.
for city council.
Yeah, Snow. Unmute yourself, okay? Actually, she's on vacation. She's in Phoenix, so she was supposed to be on the phone, but we couldn't get her. So last week we had Brent Terhune on. Well, he made a video that we played. So far it's gotten over 300 views. So thank you, Brent. He's doing a virtual show, comedy show, October 2nd, What on Flat Earth. Go to brentcomedy.com and follow him on social media because he's hilarious. And thank you, Brent, for doing that. All right, so yesterday was the 9/11 anniversary. 19 years, you know. We were like so united, like on this date, 9/12. We were like so united. Everybody loved each other. What the hell happened in 19 years? Anybody? No comments? Yeah, all went
I don't
down.
even know where to start on that one.
Yeah.
You know what it would be like now? If 9/11 happened now, it'd be like, hey, did you hear about the planes that crashed? And you'd be like, oh, all planes matter.
All planes matter.
I feel like, I don't know, it was a Democratic ploy to ruin Trump.
Right, yeah. And I know he came out with that, like it was a ploy by who was running at the time to take down Bush.
It was Gore.
Was it Gore
Gore.
running
It was Al
against him?
Gore. It was
No,
running against
No,
Bush.
Gore ran in 2000.
No, yeah, because Gore had lost.
And then it was it Mitt?
No,
Fuck.
no, it was a Democrat
McCain?
running against.
Wow.
2000.
So, no, the next election would have been...
McCain, Obama?
No. 2004 would have been the next election.
Oh, that was Kerry and Bush.
Yeah,
Kerry.
Kerry. That
Yeah.
was it.
I worked for the Kerry campaign
Wait,
back then.
oh yeah, so
Yeah,
Bush
yeah,
was a two-term. His daddy
Yes,
was not.
his daddy was one
Yes.
time.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because he was two-term.
Very few presidents have been one-term.
Hey, wouldn't you just kill to have George Bush Jr. as president now, though?
I would
No shit.
give my right, whatever
Yeah.
they wanted.
Even fucking Sarah Palin, man, that would be preferable.
I found a dead dog on the side of the road this morning, and I'd rather have that be president.
God.
At least the dead dog could be spoken for.
Where were you guys on 9/11?
Getting ready for work. I was I lived in Colorado. It's September, so the weather changes by the minute. So turned on the TV to see what the weather was like, and there was the news right after the first plane hit.
I was at work, and it came over the radio and said a plane had crashed into the tower, and I was thinking, oh, New York, you know.
Yeah, an accident or something.
Yeah, just a small plane flying into a building. It happens.
You were in Boston?
Well, they departed Boston.
You were at work in Boston?
Yeah, well, New Hampshire at the time. Close enough. Yeah, it was big then, though. So I went down to... Yeah, I didn't even see what had happened until after I got out of work and got home and actually turned on the TV when I actually first saw it. And it was just unbelievable. And I watched the news for like all night into the next day, get to go to work for 4 days. And by that weekend, I'd gone down and I was like, I just need to step away. I drove down into Boston, and it was like The Walking Dead. There was nobody on the streets anywhere.
Did they send you home early from work that day?
No. I was working for like one of those Jiffy Lube type places.
And they just kept
And,
working?
yeah, I just kept on working. I actually had one guy in, and I guess the selfishness has been a disease forever, because I had one guy come in and goes, I don't see what the big deal is. This happened all the way in New York. And I was like,
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
Some things don't change.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you were?
I was waking up. It was shortly after the first plane hit. I was getting up because I was working in a restaurant at the time. So I was like, I would get home at like midnight, 1, 2 in the morning because we'd get up, have a couple drinks, get a little tuned up.
Here?
No, this was in Flagstaff. And I was getting up, kind of just coming to my senses, getting ready to make a cup of coffee. And my buddy Jeff was like, my roommate Jeff was like, dude, check this out. I'm all, what the fuck's going on? And then it was like literally probably about 10 seconds before the second plane hit hit the tower. And we were just both like, what the shit is going on? Mm-hmm. And we sat there and kind of chain smoked some Parliament lights and watched everything happen and going, what the flying fuck is going on right now? And this was in between my 2 terms of service. Like what the? It was just, it was super surreal. Like, is this really going on right now? Is this, you didn't put like a DVD on or something, did you?
Did it motivate you to go back into the service?
It took a while. It was, I think what motivated me was when GW decided to invade Iraq, which was a complete fucking clusterfuck as far as I'm concerned. And Flagstaff's not the most pro-military town. I kind of got sick of all the hippie bullshit, and I'm like, that's kind of when, at the one point I moved back to California, and that's when I joined. And it wasn't so much September 11th. It was so much as like, man, I don't want to sit on the sidelines of history and just protest and whine and bitch. Like, fuck it, man. Let's go back and see what happens. Like, I want to get on the, not on the sidelines of history, but on the football field of history.
Where were you?
Oh boy. So I was married at the time, and my ex-husband was a steel worker, and he had been laid off at this steel mill and picked up in St. Paul. And I had stayed behind to get our house rented. And so our house had been rented, and I was staying, my belongings were in my best girlfriend's home, but I had been staying with my best guy friend most of the time. Well, my best guy friend wanted to get laid, and of course his best girlfriend hanging around wasn't conducive to that. So I had gone and stayed at my best girlfriend's house with my things that night. And I was sleeping, and she comes busting in the room, Trisha, we're getting bombed. And I woke up, and I looked at her all cross-eyed, and I was like, I'm fucking sleeping here. Like, in my mind, my husband's across the country. If we're getting bombed and we're going to die, let me die in my sleep, you know? So I lay back down, and I go back to sleep for another couple hours. She's gone off to work. I wake up. I'm in the house alone. I look around. There's nothing going on. I open the door, go outside. There was nothing going on.
Blue skies, birds in the sky, just like,
No, there's no planes in the sky. There's no fucking noise anywhere. Turn on the TV, and all that is going on is replays of the planes going into the tower. That's it. I can't get my husband on the phone. I can't get anybody on the phone. All the lines are clogged. And I'm just sitting here thinking, okay, have I been left behind? That's all I can wonder about. So that's where I was at. And for like the next month, like basically we were like, me and my husband or ex-husband were trying to figure out how we were going to get together again, because like nobody was flying except Bin Laden out of the country, and then, you know, they started like doing government flights and then business, and then so basically he finally was allowed to fly out here about 3-4 weeks later, and then we drove out together.
Wow. So, you know, and we were all like, I mentioned this, we were all together at that point, and we all just sort of, you know, we didn't look at fellow Americans as, oh, you piece of shit, libtard, and stuff like that. And I guess it wasn't until...
Unless you look like you're Middle Eastern.
Yeah, the Middle Eastern. My boss was, he was Indian, and he had a hard time. And I sort of chuckled to myself, because he pulled in one day and he has this big American flag in his back window. But he sort of had to do that because he was getting harassed. I
remember people down in Phoenix were getting shot in the face for being Sikh, which is totally different than Muslim.
Right. And, the extreme radical people that commit these acts. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, my point being is, at some point, what's the difference between them and I think Bill Maher got fired for doing something like this. What's the difference between that and radical Christians who are threatened to shoot other Americans just because of Black Lives Matter or whatever? It's all terrorism. And it all boils down to religion. That's a topic for another podcast. And also a topic for another podcast is, I know you and I have different opinions on what happened on 9/11, and we'd like to get into that at some point. But today is probably not the right time for that.
Building 7 is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, well, to remember the almost 3,000 people that lost their lives that day. But the good news is the CDC came out with new recommendations, and due to pre-existing conditions, only about 290 people actually died that day because the rest would have died anyways.
Right.
Do you people realize how stupid that sounds?
Mm-hmm. So ridiculous.
Okay. That's all we'll say about that. The NFL kicked off the other night. Did anybody watch that or see?
I had to Google it after everybody was talking about how powerful the kickoff was.
Right, yeah. And
we don't have TV.
I'm not a sports ball fan. Thank you. No,
me neither.
not so much.
Okay, so what happened is first game was in Kansas City, and they had painted in one end zone "End Racism" on in the end zone.
Oh, shit.
The two teams, it was the Chiefs and the Texans. First, they played the Black National Anthem, "Lift Every Voice," if I'm correct, and then they played the national anthem. One player knelt, but they all sat there with their arms on each other. The two people that did the anthem, it was, I have it in my notes here, Chol and Hale. One wore a George Floyd shirt, one wore a Breonna Taylor shirt.
Now, the important thing to point out about Chloe and Haley is that's the Chloe or Haley, I can't remember which one, that got everybody upset about the Little Mermaid.
Oh, is that it?
Yes, that's the Black Little Mermaid.
Oh, that's the Black Little Mermaid?
That's the Black Little Mermaid.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was just being out of touch with music.
No, but see, now can you see why she was chosen? Oh, beautiful voice.
Right, yeah, no, she sounded great. The Texans chose to stay in the locker room because they wanted to not have the team fractured where some players are kneeling, so they just chose not to go out there. After the anthem, the players did a moment of unity and a moment of silence, and the teams just lined up in a solid line across the field. So you have 52 players on each team, so 104 players, arm in arm, arms around each other. And it was really great, really powerful. And then at the end, some of the fans, there were 17,000 fans that were allowed into the stadium, and they started booing. Some of them started booing, and you can't kneel during the anthem. You can't do a moment of unity after the anthem. Let's get real. What are they trying to accomplish? They just don't want to acknowledge Black Lives Matter. I mean, it's kind of that simple.
Shut up and play.
Shut up and play. But they're not.
Dance, monkey, dance.
Don't make this political.
But these same people always swore off watching football 4 years ago when Colin Kaepernick was doing his thing.
Yep. And they'll swear it off after that.
Yeah. So tomorrow starts a new season, my first season in 20 years without Tom Brady. I'm going to miss you, Tom. I'll still be watching you in Tampa Bay, but go Cam Newton and go Patriots. Give Snow a go 49ers for Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers. And, yeah, Brent, sorry, your Colts are going nowhere this year. What else happened this week? We had the wildfires in California, Oregon, and Washington.
Still there.
Which is...
The smoke is still flowing over Kingman.
As far as
Yeah.
I know, it's like the whole western half too. It's also in Arizona, New Mexico, Utah.
Yeah, in California,
Wyoming.
if you combined all the wildfires in California, it's the size of Connecticut.
Damn.
And
I talked to one of my old roommates in Oregon yesterday. She posted something about, I'm having lung problems and whatnot, and Shireen Hamill. And she called me and she was showing me like live video of all the smoke and whatnot. And I have tons of friends in Oregon. I mean, I lived there for 3 years.
yeah, well, you saw the pictures that our friend Shannon posted of how 4 days, how dark it got.
Unbelievable. And that smoke is like, the smoke we're getting here in Kingman is mostly from California, but still, seeing people, just seeing wildfires in general, but even in Oregon, like I have a lot of friends there. I mean, a lot of them are in the National Guard. Some of them, they're just people that I met. They're losing their homes, they're being mobilized, they're having to like scurry for their lives right now because of this stuff.
Right, and there's there's entire towns are being burned down.
Yeah. This is Oregon. You would think, oh, it's Oregon and Washington and it rains all the time and there should be rain and snow and I'm like, no, it's burning down.
I'd like to say a couple things about the
Yeah,
fires.
go ahead.
One thing, I saw a thing about Cal Fire, like declaring, I think it was the Creek Fire, where it was like, we can't save 200 of you all. We can't get you. It's too dangerous. Sorry. Bend over, kiss your ass goodbye. And the California National Guard said, not on our watch. And they flew in 2 chopters, a Chinook and something else.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Multiple flights in through like near non-visible, through like embers and everything, and got every single one of those 200 lives out. So applause for the 200 or for the National Guard, even
Yes.
though
I want to know who took those photos because I was part of a California National Guard Public Affairs unit at one time, and whoever took those photos, absolutely amazing, absolutely brave to all those people. I mean, the crew, the flight crew, the pilots, the PAOs, everyone involved with that, like absolutely amazing.
yeah, and shame on you, Cal Fire. Shame on fucking you.
So let's give a shout out to all the first responders in fighting the wildfires. And, go back to 9/11 for a second. Everybody's like, well, never forget. No, don't forget, the first responders, fire, police, the good police, and medical workers. We're coming up on, the 3rd anniversary of the Vegas shooting, October 1st. First responders are very critical and they're very needed.
And the citizens who took care of each other, like citizens rushing each other to the hospital, giving each other cover.
Right, and that goes. It's kind of an ugly world right now, but then you do see stories like that. People
Nobody's
helping
asking
people.
each other if they're Democrat or
Right.
Republican during that shit.
Right. Yeah.
Also, I'm sorry, can I go
no.
back?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The other thing about the fires, damn it, I just lost it when I wanted to go back.
I hate it when
Derailed, huh?
I did.
That's why I have notes in front of me.
Was it about the climate change involved?
We'll get that in one second.
About the
Yeah,
one
we'll do-
big one
I know.
that I want to say, it's a big public service message. Gender reveals, people. Gender reveals.
Oh.
One of
Yeah.
the major fires was set off because of thermite for a gender reveal. People, I don't know why. I mean, I understand why people started wanting to know the sex of their baby, because you could save money on buying, baby shower gifts by buying appropriate gifts for the gender of the baby. But now that we don't care so much about blue for boys and pink for girls, why don't we go back to finding out the gender at birth? I mean, isn't it kind of nice to have a surprise in today's age? Quit fucking blowing things up because if you want to have a surprise
Well,
or a reveal, boom.
And you could have a gender reveal without all the bullshit.
You really could. You could cut a cake and see blue or pink or green or purple.
Yeah.
If you want to know, that's cool, but the rest of the world don't fucking care.
We don't.
Oh,
We really
exactly.
don't care, especially
Yeah.
when it burns down hundreds of thousands of fucking acres.
Well, that family's going to get fined, from what I heard.
I bet they better.
They better.
Yeah. Okay.
And then fines are great, but it doesn't bring back people's lives or their memories.
Yeah, and I want to say we have a few listeners. One's in Northern California near the fires. To Laura, Andy, and Stella and the crew, I hope you're all safe. Stay safe. Hopefully the winds keep going the way they are. Shannon up in Portland, I think she's getting out. She's going up to Vancouver or something, but hopefully everything is fine when you return. So let's talk about this. Why are we getting these fires even bigger every year after year? We get bigger fires. That's why we have Stephanie on. The answer would be
the droughts. The droughts are getting worse. This is the season they have wildfires anyway every year, but it's gotten worse because the droughts have gotten worse, and it's a lot of it. Climate science is a touchy subject, and I'm not sure why, because it's science. I'm not when it comes to science, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I am a scientist first,
Right.
and the overwhelming evidence shows that our climate is changing at a much more rapid pace than it normally would be. My degree is in earth sciences, and I've taken several classes and things on it. It's been like 20 years, but the science mind doesn't stop, and it's just gotten drier, hotter, and
right. We haven't had. We had one rain here in Kingman in the last 100
We
and
had
something days.
one good rainstorm this summer.
and
One
a second
good
smaller one. Yeah.
I mean, 3 summers ago, when I moved back 5 years ago, it was like every day.
Yep.
I was getting ready to go buy a boogie board just to ride down the streets in the rainstorm.
108 degrees in Kingman in September is not normal. Oh yeah, it gets hot. We get a spike or a heat wave a small heat wave every now and then. But this went on.
Well, I work around conservatives, and the other morning it was like 52 degrees. And I was like, "Oh, I need a jacket." And went into work, he goes, "Yeah, how's that global warming working for you?" I'm like, "Dude, it's climate change, okay?"
Weather does
Weather.
not equal climate. Weather and climate, and they teach this to grade school kids. Okay, now the weather is if it's raining or snowing or sunny. The climate is what happens over a longer period of time. It's a trend. It's not, oh, it's cold at my house today, so I guess there's no climate change.
Do you
It's
think,
been renamed. It's not global warming. That's how you can tell a bullshitter. It's not global warming anymore. It's climate change, because it's the climate that's extreme weather. It's not just an increase in heat, although that's part of it. There are more intense storms. There are bigger and more frequent tornadoes, hurricanes, the droughts, the rainstorms, everything is the blizzards. It's gone up from, you'll go two extremes.
you ever think it's like Mother Nature is just sick of our bullshit, and it's like a dog with fleas on it. It's just trying to shake us all off.
I know it is.
Yeah, you have 2 tornadoes hitting at the exact same time, in the Gulf, and we kind of dodged a bullet on that one because it could have been a lot worse.
Those two, you mean the two hurricanes?
The 2 hurricanes from
okay, the 2
from
hurricanes
stuff.
coming into the
But
Gulf.
Do
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
entertain the idea at all of it's Tesla's inventions used against us?
Well, like a weather machine?
Tesla's
You-
inventions harnessed and used against who?
Yeah, you're gonna have to back up on that one, Chris.
Oh no, I'm
She knows what I'm
I know what
Oh,
some of what
oh,
I know
oh,
some of what
no,
you're
no,
talking about.
no,
I'm not
that's-
familiar with,
Energy weapons.
I'm
and
not
whatnot.
familiar with all of it, but I know he was the only person to ever duplicate ball lightning in his fucking apartment that scientists with all their equipment can't do now.
Oh, how did
And
you-
that dude was like
How
over
did you do
100 years
that?
ago.
Yeah.
He was so brilliant, but
He
he was
like-
also what the psychiatrists like to call batshit insane.
He had the access to free energy
Free
technology.
energy. Yes, grab it out of the air like Wi-Fi. energy would have been free.
Yeah.
Except they couldn't figure out a way to capitalize off of it, and so they destroyed all of his plans.
Right.
I know.
Supposedly.
Edison fucked him over a million
Right.
times. I know.
Right. Or the governments.
And the
used it
governments,
against-
the corporations, the people who couldn't make money off his inventions, just
like
scrapped them.
like guy made a car that ran off of water, and he went out to dinner with a car executive, and suddenly he died of poisoning shortly afterwards.
But I mean, I'm sure. Are there other people like Tesla out there, coming along, once in a lifetime people coming up with these things? Oh, sure. You know.
Because I remember, well, I mean, I
probably
was
didn't say
married
it
to a conspiracy theorist for a long time. So,
sorry.
yeah.
Sorry.
So he like had like these links to these different stories or revenues of stories or whatever that said like they were developing weapons to ruin environments, like to keep South Africa like without water, ruining crops, whatnot. Or not South Africa, you know what I'm talking about.
There's a problem that comes down with all conspiracy theories, and it's this.
That there's a beat of truth.
No, that you are not going to get. You can't get two people to keep a secret, let alone hundreds or thousands.
Right.
Without
That's
it coming out.
That's
so that's
my
where all conspiracy theories fall apart. Is that you're not going to have thousands of people in the government keeping this a secret. Somebody's going to leak it. One way or another, somebody's going to tell somebody. Two people together can't keep a freaking secret.
Right.
You know, and that's why I have this sort of scorned thing, scornful thought of all this conspiracy theory crap.
You can't have a classified meeting in the Oval Office with 4 people without it getting out
Yeah.
what happened in that meeting.
Yeah, exactly. And so how is it that they want to think that thousands or hundreds or the whole government is keeping it from you? No. It's this big shadow government. Oh, the shadow government. I like that whole
The deep
shadow
state.
government shit. Right? The Illuminati and the, oh no, are they going to strike me down?
My theory is, the government wouldn't want to kill us off because they need us as workers, and they need us to pay taxes, and so they
They
can
only need
steal
a
off
certain
us.
percentage of us, though.
Yeah, I mean, once you can no longer
Once you're
work,
not
right?
able-bodied,
Right, yeah.
then you're just a drain on society.
Well, yeah, but you also have that theory, the government's going to come for your guns, and just like, yep, I'm going to stand up against the army. I'm like, no, dude, they're just going to send a drone after you if they really
shit,
wanted
right?
That's
to.
the whole reason I got a gun, death by suicide by cop. When they come to get me, I'll just draw, and they're not taking me out of my house.
They were, when Obama was elected, they're going to come take all your guns.
Well, that's
I'm
going to happen
Obama,
about him.
and I'm here to get your guns.
Hello.
Just please hand them over to me.
Yeah,
He's
please.
going to go knocking on door to door. Hello, I'm Obama.
I'm Barack
I need more.
Hussein.
I need more of your guns.
You have to say
I'm just
Hussein
putting-
hard, though.
I'm just putting in my car right now. Hi, I'm Obama. I'm here to get your guns. Just put them in the back of my truck.
I mean, every single election, the Democrats come to take your guns.
Well, no,
Excuse me,
that's-
but a lot of us are armed too.
No,
But no, now it's socialism. They're not even talking about guns.
they're
really.
talking
They are
about guns.
some.
They're
They are
talking
some.
about guns.
Mark
I hear it
Kelly.
almost every day.
Mark Kelly wants to take your guns.
See, all I'm hearing now is socialism.
Yeah.
Anything they don't like is socialism.
I'm like, I'd totally sell my soul into socialism before I trip into fascism. Sorry.
Yeah, but and anti-fascists are a bad thing now in this country.
My mom's like, so you're okay with Antifa? I'm like, didn't we go to war twice to be Antifa?
Yeah,
I
right.
thought so.
I was gonna bring out my Antifa ID card for the meeting and take pictures of it, but I brought my camera. I always keep my camera with me, but there's no such thing as an Antifa ID card because Antifa is anti-fascist, and it's not an organized organization.
That's what I'm like. Yeah, pretty much I am Antifa because it's anti-fascist, and I am not okay with
Would
fascism.
you punch Hitler? I would punch Hitler. That's anti-fascist, right?
I would punch the president.
Right?
And we
I have to climb his tie, but I would do it.
like
I
when
do
we had
that
the
whatever, yeah.
BLM protest a few months ago. Everybody was
Oh,
like,
you're BLM?
I didn't say it was BLM. I'm just making a point.
That's what my mom said. You're BLM? Oh my God, Mom.
So they had this protest, and everybody's posting on all the redneck pages.
BLM was here.
Yeah, there's busloads of BLM and Antifa coming into Walmart. And I was in Walmart the other day, and you know what I saw? I saw busloads of military personnel pulling into Walmart.
They were probably on annual training. They were most likely
Going to 21
National Guard soldiers coming from Fort Irwin to wherever.
No, that's not
stopping
what I heard.
to get, like
Sustenance.
food and water and stuff. And I'm sure
Toilet
one or
paper.
two of them got a couple cases of beer and snuck it back on the bus.
No,
That's what
no,
soldiers
but-
do. That's what we do sometimes.
Maybe a porno mag.
Oh, yeah, they need to eat.
But yeah, they just had to
Okay,
stop
why?
and get some food.
Well, that's not what I heard, though. I heard that I saw a certain podcast, which I should have wrote down the notes, that the military was coming in to invade us.
Let's say commit us.
Maybe they were coming for our guns. They said that it was armed personnel, getting off of buses in
Yeah.
Walmart. I saw no armed personnel.
Deboarding.
I saw some kids, very nice kids, going to grab a burger at Carl's Jr. in uniform. And I said, "Hey, thank you for your service." And why is it the same people that are all like, the military's going to come for our guns? They're going to come and invade us. There's busloads of them in Walmart. Are the same people that are like,
Call the National Guard.
don't you dare kneel down for the national anthem. Support our troops. You're disrespecting our troops.
Yep.
Or call the National Guard when two young, less than 20-year-olds organize a rally to support Black Lives Matter.
Right, and we had all sorts of armed people at that one, not
That
on the
was
BLM
Freaking
side.
scary.
Yeah, I bet none of the armed people were National Guard soldiers because I know how that works. We don't carry firearms into places like that.
Oh, no. They
And
were.
two, all the armed people were the ones with giant Trump stickers on their pickup trucks and strapping pistols to their
No, they were
Right.
salt and
belts and their
pepper
Ringo jeans. 'cause-
Kyle Rittenhouses. They were salt and pepper Kyle Rittenhouses.
Yeah.
Kyle
At least
was a
they
hero,
actually didn't
right?
shoot someone at ours.
Yeah, but they still had their fingers ready to if they had
Yeah,
tripped.
come on.
And didn't
Make-
break a hip. They
make-
might have.
Make no mistake about it. Those people showing up there, they just want something to happen.
They want to shoot someone.
They
They're not there
want
to
it.
protect things.
Goddamn right they
They're
did.
hoping they can shoot someone.
I think they wanted to shoot me, but I offered them popsicles instead.
That's
They
a
were looking at me like, you tattooed woman.
That's a good.
You know,
Lesbian, Satanist, atheist, abortionist.
we can't.
Wait, are you a woman? Oh yeah, you have
How-
boobs. Okay.
How can we both be an angry mob who's going to destroy the city and be a bunch of snowflakes that don't know where their safe space is? It's come on, get real, conservatives. We just want love and peace and hippie. We all want to get along. We want our weather to be nice. We want the safe planet for all of our kids.
I mean, I will fuck shit up, but I'm usually too stoned to want to.
And I hung out with Black Lives Matter, and I actually had a really good time. We just smoked and joked, grilled a couple hot dogs and some ribs, and
Right. Did you hear the
chilled
rumor?
the hell out.
Did you hear the rumor about the Portland wildfires that they were started by the Antifa and
Yeah, I've heard
BLM
that,
protesters?
Oh my
Seriously?
god.
Yeah. These people will reach on anything.
They're in the cities. They're not in the wild. They're in the city.
How can they do both? Yeah, they can be. How can they be looting and rioting and also setting fires
Campfire.
way out in the middle of nowhere?
It's a busy job.
Apparently.
Hello.
Somebody's got to do it.
Apparently, it is a very busy job, isn't it?
All right. Fuck. This year's enough just to fucking stress anybody out.
No
My
shit.
God.
September is Suicide Awareness Month. If you find yourself in crisis, call 1-800-273-8255.
There's a cool song with that
I
this year. Was it this year or
this
last year?
suicide song.
Yeah, was it that like phone number, the song? pretty much?
8675309.
No. That I mean, didn't Khalid?
Whoa. How the hell did you get back into the Sporty's bathroom? I want that number. I probably shouldn't mention them. I've been trying to get back into Sporty's, and I can't wait till it opens back up.
Are they not open right now?
No, they never reopened because from what I hear is they couldn't get help back because help was on unemployment. But I don't know what the problem is now because unemployment has run out
No, it
since
hasn't.
then. Well, not completely, but it's gone down. They're not getting $600 a week anymore.
No, but they're getting 3.
Who can live on that though?
Sure.
Don't get the numbers off gas station and dive bar bathrooms.
You should. You might get something
Yeah.
else off those walls too.
Yeah. See, that's why I've never been in Sporty's. I was afraid I'd catch something just going into
What?
it.
You've never been in
Yeah, I said that a few weeks ago.
I was when I was 19 in Sporties. That is not on the bathroom wall.
That's a
No,
separate
no.
conversation.
I want to go to Sporty's when they open back up. Support local businesses downtown.
We'll support that local.
Dude, once
For
this,
one or two drinks.
once all this
Oh.
bullshit ends.
I've been severely warned.
And so you have anybody else here haven't been having a hard time with depression since all this has started this year? I know I have.
Dude.
I've been
I do in
miserable.
general anyway.
Dude, you and I talk on the regular about it.
Yeah.
I've struggled with depression my entire life.
I think everybody does to a certain point, some more than others. I actually had a friend call me the other day, and she was struggling, and it got to the point where I'm like, "Look, you need to talk to somebody. I'm not professional on this because it was bad." And she actually did. She reached out. She called somebody, and she's doing much better now.
Good.
So
And that's important.
being a superhero isn't easy sometimes.
That's important, though. You have to protect yourself and know when to say when.
Yes, especially when you're not feeling it yourself.
True.
You want to save everybody, but
Right.
you got
And
to take care of yourself first.
So we should just kind of approach this also with a trigger warning. This topic can be triggering to some, so
right, and it's an important topic to talk about,
It
and
is.
it's a difficult topic to talk about, and I find myself, I get into the middle of these conversations, and I'm just like, oh, what do I want to say about this? But we lose so many people. I mean, one person that Chester Bennington.
oh dude, that
Dude.
was a hard one for me too.
My nephew and I, we bonded over at Lincoln Park when Lincoln Park first came out. He's like, "Uncle, you got to check out this band, Lincoln Park," and I'd already known about him. He goes, "You got to take me next time." And the next time they came around, they were playing in the Patriots Stadium outside of Boston, and they were opening for Metallica. And he goes, "Yeah, that was the best show ever. There's no way Metallica's gonna be better than this." I'm like, "Well, Jeff, Metallica's about to take you to school." And my nephew goes to me afterwards, goes, "You were right." But ever since then, me and my nephew, whenever Lincoln Park would come to town, we would get together, we'd go see Lincoln Park, and if you have depression and you listen to Lincoln Park, you're like, "Wow, how did he get inside my head?"
Yeah.
And after he committed suicide, you were just like, "Oh."
Well, I'll tell you, some of his songs were also really good for finding that rage that you sometimes need to get out of depression. Like when you feel really wronged and you're in that deep mire of depression, but you need to pull out of it. We need to claw out of it. Some of his songs will help you find the just enough rage or anger to be like, "Fuck this, I'm done. I'm gonna get out of here," So it's good to commiserate with, but also okay, I'm done wallowing. I'm ready to get out.
Right.
Yeah. So it's for me, and I don't mean to interrupt if I did. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, it's-
But for me, when I Chris Cornell was hard enough.
Chris was brutal too.
Chris Cornell was hard enough, but then I remember I was visiting a friend, and they were all still asleep. I was in California, and I was laying in the guest room, and I was on Facebook, and I saw Chester Bennington, and I was just like, because it was on, I think, Chris's birthday, and then I knew they were very tight, and he did it the same way, and it just fucking hit me.
Oh, here's the thing that ties that together is the day after, or maybe it was 2 days after Chris had passed, Lincoln Park was playing up at the Cosmopolitan in Vegas, and my nephew flew down from Denver and we went to the show, which was seen in Lincoln Park in the Cosmopolitan. It's a very small venue. And this was just 2 days after Chris, and Chester comes out, and Chester was the godfather of Chris's kids. And I forget, One More Light, I think he dedicated to Chris Cornell, not a dry eye in the house. We were all just... Ooh. And that was the last show Lincoln Park played in the United States. So I was glad that I got to share that moment with my nephew.
Yeah, that morning when I read that, it hit me hard because I was going through a particularly hard breakup at the time, and I just sat there, and for a minute I kind of went into my own depression, like, what the fuck am I even bothering for? Why am I struggling? Why do I fight every day? Why do I push every day when I have nothing? I have no money, I have no fame, I have no future, I have no kids, I have no skill. This man had all of that, and he still fucking gave up.
Did you know he was in Sedona that morning, and he drove back to L.A.? He left his family back in Sedona because he owns a cabin there, and drove back to L.A., and that's when he apparently hung himself that night. So he had passed through Kingman that day.
No, I didn't. And I was like, I got real dark and real deep real fast, and I sat there for a few minutes and marinated in it, and and then I just was like, you know what? No. Instead, I'm going to look at it like this. We never know what's going on in somebody. He had everything and still felt that. He had it all. He had not only everything tangible, but he had 6 kids that needed him, and still felt so desperate and so low that he couldn't push anyways. So I'm going to instead take this as the person that I'm passing on the street that looks like they have everything and a smile on their face. Maybe they're feeling as bad as I do. So if I see they have a fly shirt, I'm going to tell them, man, you got a fly shirt. I love your shirt. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to connect with people, because you never know, that one smile you give somebody, that one compliment you give them might be the reason they walk tomorrow, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And you never know. And, I have do a certain amount of customer service, and I have people being shitty to me, and when I'm going through stuff, you never know what that person that's across, who's cashing you out at the grocery store or whatever things that they're going through, and they have to go to work and get through the day, and that person's just trying to make it through the day. And sometimes treating somebody like shit could be the trigger that just kind of pushes them over the edge. Particularly on social media, and I think we were talking about this right before we turned these microphones on, is just Facebook has just become such a hellhole at times. I mean, it's great. It's great to follow your friends and see what they're doing, and there's great conversations that we can have on each other's pages. I don't understand the hate, but I guess it's just miserable people sitting home and.
But on the flip side, I think it's good to recognize that sometimes somebody appearing that hateful maybe is just that horribly hurting and suffering, and maybe they're just that close to stepping off the chair.
True, they might have a lot of anger issues themselves.
So maybe if you're a friend of somebody who's lashing out that way, you could approach them with, "Are you okay?" Because please, if I'm ever acting that way as my friends, ask me, because maybe I am on the edge, and if nothing else, I need to be told I'm being a total cunt.
There's one guy, when you follow the local paper page, and there's one guy who has atrocious grammar, and he's always he's always
are his initials MD?
Yeah. That's all we'll say, MD. But what he would always go after liberals, and liberals are this, but his grammar is just atrocious. And how I would troll him is I would just type what he meant to say was, and I would type it out for him.
Right.
And I would always end it with, "Hey, dude, why the hate?" Because he's supposed to be Christian. I'm like, dude, why the hate? Because, Jesus would be a progressive. And I'd always end it like that. And he
But it's true, Jesus would be
No,
a progressive.
finally at one point, he got tired of me doing that. He was just like, dude, why you know that I can't do this. Why are you doing that? I'm like, all right. And we sort of made up after that. I was just like, you know what, you're right. I am being sort of mean to you, and I apologize. It's just liberals aren't bad. They're not their enemies. And ever since then, we've sort of got along. And to tell you the truth, I don't see him posting his hate a whole lot lately.
Right.
Cool.
Me
Good
neither.
job.
Yeah,
I don't know if he blocked us all, but me neither.
Yeah,
he could have just blocked us. Yeah, but he doesn't know how to type they or they are or they're.
I did kind of go off on him one day, and it comes to find out apparently he does have somebody sent me a text
learning
about,
disability or
he's an older guy.
Was he?
He does have
he was our
some,
age.
huh?
I thought he was our age.
that's older, right?
I'm still
Hey.
trying to figure that out. He does have some learning disabilities and whatnot, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I think social media should just, if you can't, I know it's Facebook and everyone goes to Facebook, but there's got to be something out there where you at least have to have a fucking
Maybe they should tear us out.
comprehension of fucking at least an associate's degree, or you've lived somewhere else, or you know how to use proper English and grammar and know how to do.
Well,
They
yeah, but
should restrict us to our own.
yeah, but then they accuse Facebook of silencing conservatives. If you do that. All right, we're passing notes in class here. So I don't know what that's about. Anybody
I
else?
haven't passed a note in class.
Well, you haven't been in class in a while.
Well, maybe I'll take a class and pass it.
I think
Then
kids.
do it.
I think kids did start going back to school this week. Mine, I'm still keeping out of school. But that's got to be rough on kids too with this whole year, and because kids need to be social and to
Dude,
hang
I
out.
don't know. I would have loved to have been out of school.
I think I would have too, but I'm kind of an introvert, and that would have hampered my progress.
Okay, so I was very intelligent, and I always felt held back as far as not to sound like,
You were too smart for the room.
yeah, I don't mean to sound like an asshole, but yeah, I already kind of knew what was going on in class ahead of class.
Right? Yeah, school's kind of boring to me
Yeah.
in that aspect.
Grade school was like that.
And the girls were not very nice to me in school, just say that. So I think if I had the option to stay home, I would have been way happy
Yep,
to stay
me
home.
too. I was a super
Yeah,
weirdo.
but don't. I find myself though, because I go to work, have to deal with the public, but sometimes I just don't like to be around people. No offense to anybody here.
It's okay.
But
we don't like being around people either.
But you know what I mean? But I'd become an introvert that I just wouldn't want to be. I'd be one of those people that never leaves the house.
Right. But maybe if we had never been forced out of the house, we would be more wanting to be out of the house because we would have never been out of the house.
An introvert's not
Or-
the same thing as being antisocial and shy either.
Or we would have developed sex bots a lot earlier, and we would never ever want.
Well, that's true. You do have to leave the house to meet women. So
Well, sex bots are getting really advanced these
Dude,
days.
What do you mean
Did-
sex bots? Whoa,
sex robots.
Yeah,
sex bots?
yeah.
Where have you been?
Where have you guys?
Not having sex with
What does
robots.
it say that we know more about this than?
Wait a minute.
Damn it.
Aaron, that means that they have sex bots.
We're just nerds, that's all.
So some sex bot's gonna come in the middle of the night and pork you while I'm not looking?
Could.
Or pass out on the couch? Or on the front
Better
porch?
watch
Depends
your
on what
P's and
you're-
Or
Q's.
downtown?
Depends on what you're up to, yeah.
Better mind your P's and Q's there.
Damn
Aaron.
it.
Stay on top of your
Sex bot's
stuff.
probably got a bigger boner than I do.
Better not get whiskey dick is all I'm saying.
It's not just whiskey, dude. I don't drink whiskey. I have been drinking some beers. I will come out and say it. I mean, it's obviously on the table. I've taken pictures of it. I mean, can you imagine some random robot showing up at your door going, "Hello, I'm here to bone you," and just letting him in
Wouldn't it be amazing? You could order up whatever kind or fantasy you wanted.
Oh, yeah.
This is capitalism at
Oh,
its
can I get
best.
characters out of books and movies?
Yes.
Oh, that would be fucking
And
rad.
you could be like, pause, changed my mind.
It's like Westworld, but with sex bots.
You ever watch,
Well, Westworld kind of was about.
Sex bots.
like, you ever watch Outlander?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
What's that?
If Jeff Bezos is listening to this, he's probably already like,
Oh, Bezos is.
dude, I've been on this for like
What do you think
4
Epstein's Island
years.
was? Epstein's Island was, prototyping that shit.
Dude, I had this idea when you were like 30.
We're in the R&D phase here.
I would like to help with that if I could. Although I don't know, maybe they could be scary in the development research phase.
Yeah,
Like
that's
aliens and dragons and.
Like malfunctioning kind of things, you know.
I would get the
don't wanna
malfunctioning one.
electrocuted in the wrong
been one of my
place.
share of art.
Yes, you would.
I get all the malfunctioning ones. That's what it is.
No, they would just, electrocute you at the very wrong time. Or it would not be fun.
Depends where the electrocution goes.
Or it might be fun, depending on what you're into. I'm not going to kink shame you here.
I would go to order one now, but with the way the mail service is, I wouldn't get it till next year.
That's got to be a huge delivery. Like, how much do you think it costs to ship a
Oh, man.
sex
Dude,
bot?
I've seen
Probably more than I
the.
take making a
Have you guys seen those photos of like commissioned or decommissioned mail sorting machines? Mm-hmm. They're like not just decommissioned; they're like broken,
Yeah, they destroyed
like
them. Yeah.
wires cut and pieces broke. I'm like,
Yep.
Then they had like the mail that was dumped into an empty lot in Los Angeles.
that's messed up because now people's like privacy is all kinds of compromised, addresses and whatnot. That's messed up. Now the machines alone, that's a federal crime because you're not supposed to break anything that is not already broken. That's federally owned. That's like a federal law. So, I hope they find those guys and put them in jail.
Yeah, so when it comes to mailing your ballots, and be sure to check. You can do that. You can check with your county
Voter registration. Or
voter registration to make sure that your ballot was received and counted.
In Mojave County, that's at 700 West Beale.
Make sure you haven't been purged like I was.
Call the voter registration office. They know what they're. I used to work with them.
I heard you saying that it never happens in here, but they called me last time asking about my signature, and I said, "Do I need to come in or anything?" And they're like, "Oh no."
Well, they do it to verify. I don't know. They want to make sure you're there.
They're like, "We're Republicans checking your signature because it doesn't match," and I'm like, "No, does it look like a cursive C, a T, and then a cursive C and a bunch of lines?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's me. Do I need to come in and cure it?" They're like, "No, it's good."
Well, maybe you described it accurately enough. They have to look into it. They have to research. They take classes on handwriting and signatures and how to tell the difference.
I think it's
have them
fascinating,
all on
signature
file.
or
It really is.
handwriting.
It really
science.
is. And but yeah, if you can drop off your ballot at an early voting site. In Kingman, let's see, early voting sites, there's one. There's always one over by the little building behind the Catherine Heidenreich Adult Center,
yeah.
the Senior Center.
Yep.
There's always one back that way, or you can take them into the actual voter registration office. That's where, because I work literally across the hall from them, and I just take it over there and drop it in.
Nice.
So yeah, it's convenient. But if you ever need somebody to drive you, you can always ask a friend to take you there. I'm not even putting mine in the mail.
I'm not sure.
I'm supposedly on the permanent early voting list, and I plan on taking mine to a site as well.
Yeah,
Did you
those
guys
will be mailed out on October 7th.
Yeah.
October 7th?
Yeah.
Well, a couple weeks away.
I mean, when it'll get to you, I don't know, but
Right,
they
because
mail
I'm
them on.
rural, so it'll be a while.
They mail them on
Hello,
October
it's
7th.
Rocktober, not October. It's mandatory
There's-
back-to-back Led Zeppelin rock blogs
Excuse me.
every
there's,
Taco
there's,
Tuesday.
there's no rock this
Taco
year.
Tuesdays.
Well, the last day to register to vote for this election is October 5th.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken. I would look it up if I were you. So
That's
you can
good
check
news
your voter
to have.
registration on servicearizona.com.
Michael, do you know that date by heart yet?
No, I don't.
You bad PC.
September.
God, shh. You guys hear about Bob Woodward this week and the tapes that he came out with Donald Trump back in February?
No,
Except for
I
Aaron.
didn't.
Aaron didn't.
I
didn't either.
fucked up, and I have not watched
Okay.
or read any of them.
You were supposed to be
And
on
I know.
I
I'm
would
a
love to
former
know
journalist, and I have not watched that, and I don't
Where do we
really have
find it?
much word in this.
Wait,
so
wait.
I'll let the rest of you hash this out.
Please tell me. I want to know.
He's finding it. He might be playing it on there. There's a recording. Basically,
Take-
Trump interviewed with Bob Woodward, and
Yeah.
he
How long ago?
said that he knew
Here it is.
he knew how dangerous that COVID was back in February.
Aaron can't hear this, but here, coming up here. Pulling the clip
It's
now.
also more deadly than your strenuous flus. People don't realize we lose 25,000, 30,000 people a year here. This is more deadly. This is 5% versus 1% and less than 1%. So this is deadly stuff.
Okay, so what he admitted there was that he knew back in February that this was over 5 times deadlier than the flu, and that he knew that it was going to be a potential problem. It's on tape with Bob Woodward.
Can we crank
How-
my jaw back up? Because
How
what the hell?
how-
We've been hearing for months that this was nothing.
how dumb is he?
would say to panic.
How
It's just going to mysteriously disappear, just like it came on.
How dumb is he, though, to go to the guy who played the Nixon tapes to get that on tape that he admits that it's dead there? But for Bob Woodward, though,
Why did
would
he
you
sit
wait?
on it this
Yeah,
long?
why would you wait this long? Because you could have saved potentially 100,000 lives. Yeah.
Well, maybe he's just got his last will and testament together.
Maybe well,
So when
maybe he doesn't want to be
suicides,
elected.
He's all secure.
Maybe it's just in time for the election. Maybe it was just planned out for that.
Okay, let's all be real, guys. As much as I want, so desperately want Biden and Camilla, Camilla, Biden, Harris. Dude, what do we honestly believe the probability of Trump leaving office is? I mean, between friends and
no, I think you will.
Well, once January 21st comes along, when he is officially no longer president, they will escort him out.
do you think
If
he's
they
gonna?
have to.
Do you think he's officially not going to be president?
No, he's officially not going to be a president. Well, if he
If he
loses the
loses
election.
election, but
He
no,
will
I think
be-
the question you're trying to ask is is he going to leave, and is he not going to throw a temper tantrum?
I'm asking,
Probably.
is there any chance in hell this man is not going to find a way to not stay in office?
Oh, I
He'll
don't
try.
doubt it. I don't doubt it.
I don't think
he'll-
we're gonna
he'll
not
do
have
everything
another
he
4
can
years.
to stay in office.
He's gonna try.
Even if he
But I don't-
loses, he's
Exactly.
going to be like, well,
Well, I don't accept these results.
Number one, his daughter owns the fucking patent to the voting machines. Number two, he's destroying the post office.
Yeah.
So right there, we have two very clear, very follow the money lines to corruption in our voting process.
Well, he's setting up for saying, well, it's going to be the most, if they let him vote by mail, it's going to be the most rigged election in history. And he's just
But
setting
his
it
daughter
up
owns
because
the patent to the voting machine,
knows-
so even if we vote by the machine, it's
because he's setting up for when he loses, he can say, oh, well, it's rigged and I don't accept it.
But his daughter owns the patent to the voting machine, so even if we use the voting machine, he's gonna win.
But she can't magically make it all vote for him.
Well, he's
Sure,
doing
she can.
he's doing nothing to reach out to the undecided voters. He's just pushing everybody away.
Oh, he's just pushing, yeah, he's just speaking to his
He's
base,
just
which is...
speaking to his
But that's only 35%
I know.
of the country. But
He had no poll last time.
well, he didn't want the job in the first place. Let's get real. I read the book.
Right. And that's my point. He wasn't supposed to win last time.
Right, and he was like, "Oh shit, I won." But now
But we learned something.
but now he's like, "Oh shit."
We didn't vote for him last time.
He didn't win. He
But I
lost the
think-
popular vote by almost 4 million votes.
Yeah,
the
but-
only thing that saved his ass was the Electoral College.
Russian meddling.
And
Sorry.
And he was out there soliciting any other country that wants to help.
No, he here's what he wanted.
You're a fucking joke to us.
But here's what he wanted. He wanted to start his own cable news show, Trump TV.
But now, Michael, he
To
has
be-
to win because if
No,
he,
yeah,
once
no,
he
he-
leaves office, we're gonna nail his ass to the
Right,
wall.
right. Now he can't lose because he's going to go to jail most likely.
And he's depending on staying in office until one of his kids can take office. So then they'll give him diplomatic immunity or pardon or whatever.
If I was Biden and I win, to get him out of office, I'd be like, dude, just go disappear. Go. I'll pardon you. Just get the fuck. Stay
I
off.
like
Stay off
what-
Twitter and just get the fuck out of here.
I liked what God,
I like that.
that's not
His
a bad
name
idea.
just Steve Colbert said, let's just make him King Trump. They do nothing except come out and wave once a year. You know, he wants all the power in the name. Let's just make him King Trump and let Parliament do the job.
I love Colbert.
Yeah, thank God for.
Supposedly he's gross because he's Podesta's best friend. You know, but supposedly Podesta's gross.
You know, although what are Seth Meyers and Colbert and all those other ones
Trevor
gonna
Noah.
do? Trevor Noah. What are they gonna do if Biden gets in? It's gonna be like, oh God, there goes our.
Well, they're
goes
going to
our
have to start
jobs.
talking about him being a hair sniffer.
Although,
Or something.
who's the one that does Harris on Saturday Night Live? She's hilarious. Do you know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Can't think of the name.
Been watching a lot of
Didn't
SNL
really-
sketches, but I,
They'll hire somebody that looks remotely like Biden, and he's going to make an amazing cabinet if he is elected, because that's one thing Democrats do well is they employ smart.
People who know what they're doing.
Thank you. They don't go after their lackeys and their campaign donors.
I hire the finest people, and how many of them been indicted?
This is
You
the
know, or
discussion I
quit.
was having with my mom. His whole cabinet has gone to jail. Who's gone to jail? I'm like, Roger, that's not his cabinet. That was from previous administrations. I'm like, Mom, Roger Stone did not work for Obama. Roger Stone and Obama hate each other.
I would hire.
So lucky to have my mom.
If I had like a science department, I would hire a scientist,
Right?
Not like
Like
hey, are you
Pete
scientists?
Buttigieg for something in the military. You know,
I saw a chemistry set in Walmart once.
Betty
Okay, you're
DeVos
hired
for
versus
public
like, oh no, I have like a doctorate
education.
degree
Oh,
in
fuck her so much.
who's never been in public education.
geology.
Or DeJoy.
Or send
Or
anyone
DeJoy, who never fucking worked for the post office.
Right. DeVos, who's never been to public school or sent any of her kids to public school. Let's put her in charge of public education.
She keeps trying to divert all this money to private schools.
Right. Or Christian schools.
Ugh.
Or what about Carson? What's he in housing? Why not something about he's a fucking neonatal surgeon. Why not something about medical? Why is he in housing?
I got a blood test once. I should be the Surgeon General.
Right.
All right, cool.
Right? It makes no sense. His cabinet
And
has
I-
never made sense.
I have a
Ever.
podcast, so I won't be press secretary.
You should totally be press secretary.
You'd be a way better
I
press
think you should
secretary
be
than
press
I am right now.
secretary.
I would get up there and they would ask me, "Hey, yeah, he said that COVID was really bad back in February." I was like, "That was the one time he was telling the truth. You want him to tell the truth? He told the truth."
Everyone was like,
You gotta learn to lie way better than that. if you're
No,
gonna be press
no.
secretary.
I would just be like, nah, he's full of shit there. Next question.
I think I'm pretty good. Well, I could call on my days as a, pro dominatrix, and I'd be a good chief of staff. Just whoosh, next, whoosh, next.
He'd probably enjoy that.
yeah, there's got a lot of closet Republicans in there.
Come into my bedroom.
I said no. Next.
You ain't good with good golden showers. Just don't put it on videotape.
Put it on videotape, man. We can edit.
God,
Everything's on video.
how bad did you want that story to be true? That there those Russian hookers that had a P tape on Trump. I
Dude,
wanted that
it's
to be.
so
I want that so. I want God. You know how much money we would make?
So true.
The movie theaters are just opening up now. I saw that movie Tenet the other day. Oh my God, that was a great movie.
Where did you see that at?
The Laughlin.
Okay.
Movie theaters are open.
I hear they're showing old movies too, like Raiders of
Yeah.
the Lost Ark.
Well, because nobody's made movies right?
Yeah, well, they're only starting to come out. All right. Speaking of watching things, go see Tenet. Awesome movie. I know you turned me on to the Breonna Taylor documentary.
Dude, how long did you get in before you started to cry or like rage?
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Right?
Literally. When it was the boyfriend calling 911.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like goosebumps, tears. Like I didn't know what to do. I had to pick things because I was like ready to start throwing things and like I
Yeah.
had tears. Like I have goosebumps right now. Just-
And when you realize how badly the police department fucked up, and what it take them 12 days to
Release
actually
him?
no, it took 12 days to interview the officer that had done it. And yeah, how long was it before they released the boyfriend?
I don't know, 30 days or 20 days or something. It was a long time.
Where was the NRA on that one too? Because he
Still
was
haven't made a
he was
statement.
standing his ground. They kicked in his door and just started.
They
and
charged him with attempted murder of a police officer.
Right, and the officers outside were just firing
They were
blindly into
calling
the
him
apartment.
A cop killer. They were telling him, "Come out, cop killer." When they were calling him out of the building, they were threatening him. They were making him walk out backwards, and he's fucking crying because they just murdered his girlfriend, and they're in bed, like she was in her pajamas, like
Right, this was Louisville, Kentucky, right? That's
Yeah.
So the police showed up because she had dated somebody that was wanted on drug charges, so they had thought that he would be with her. So they
well.
I'm
Okay, so the story goes that they sent out, I think at that night, did 5 deliveries of different midnight raids.
no knock warrants.
Different, yeah.
And this one was in a totally different other part of the
Totally
city.
different. This was a nice part of town. The others were grouped together in a well-known, well-trafficked part of town. This was in a totally 10, 15 minutes across town, nice part of town. They had already picked up her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, when
Right,
they
so
served
he was already in custody.
when they did this no-knock raid on her house. The whole reason that they did this no-knock raid on her house was because she dated this man at one time, and earlier in the year they saw him coming from her house with a package. So they said that he could be receiving drugs at her house.
Anyway, that documentary is titled "The New York Times Presents the Killing of Breonna Taylor," correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you have Amazon Prime, watch that, and you'll be. It's a good documentary, but you'll also be infuriated when you watch it.
Yes, and I don't know. I mean, if you have time to get into things like send letters, make phone calls. I don't know if our senators can put pressure on Kentucky senators, but one cop has been fired. The other cops are still employed, no charges. These officers mostly are still employed, and nobody has had charges. This woman has been murdered, and nothing has been done.
Ugh, man. So
And on the subject, are we going to touch on Daniel Prude?
go ahead.
Did you guys see Daniel Prude? So Daniel Prude is a man, I guess, of unknown mental clarity, who had served some time in military, had come home or come back to visit his brother for the holiday, I believe. And his brother suspected he was altered and asked him about it. He had told his brother not to do drugs when he was there. His brother told him, F you, I'm high or whatever, took off his clothes, ran out the back door. Brother,
This is Rochester, New York, right?
I believe so, yes. Brother, who is not high or altered, calls the police and says, my brother is altered and running naked in the streets. It's snowing. This is in
February.
I thought, yeah, or December,
Yeah.
one of the two. Please don't kill my brother. He's a good man. He doesn't mean any harm. He has done this before, but just bring him home, please don't. And he literally said the words, please don't kill my brother. So the cops roll up on a naked man running in the streets, and right away, it's comedy central to them. They're laughing at him, and it's caught on video both by their body cams and a lady recording. Some neighbor catches it on. He is altered, so he's not making a whole lot of sense in the dialogue. He's blessing them with his words. He's saying, in the name of Christ, bless you. Jesus Christ thanks you. Blah, 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 blah. Please take me home, Jesus Christ, in the name of Christ. Please put me on a plane, thank you. And he's spitting. Now, I don't know how much everybody here knows about different substances, but I do know that somebody who is on PCP, they get a dry mouth. And he was definitely acting like somebody on PCP. So they put what they call a spit hood on him. And so he has a nylon hood on him. They keep telling him to quit spitting. He has a hood on him, so it doesn't matter if he's spitting or whatever. He's talking about his big dick or whatever. They're laughing at him because of it. At some point, they get him on his belly. He has a hood on, and they restrain him. And they're sitting on him, and a cop puts his face into the fucking street. And he dies, of course. I don't remember exactly, is it because they're sitting on him and they have his face, or is it because...
It was very similar to the George Floyd
Yeah,
incident.
the hold and the neck restraint.
Yeah.
Yep. So the paramedics finally arrive, and by the time the paramedics arrive, he's already... By the time the paramedics arrive and they get off of him, they realize that he no longer has a pulse. And they try to revive him, and he's dead.
Yeah.
I did hear about that. I didn't remember his name.
And, of course, there's protests and then riots.
Well, hell of a year. But you know that we're gonna have a lot more of that in Joe Biden's America, according to the Trump campaign
Yeah, I mean,
videos.
whoever's running the country right now
Yeah.
is doing a terrible fucking job.
Yeah, I mean,
Look at all that.
I'm really starting to think that, like, we should just, like, have a ticker, like, you know, like how factories used to have, we have 0 days from our last injury, like, we have 0 days from our last black man murder, you know?
that wouldn't last long.
It's so sick. Like, I feel every day I wake up to see, like, what our last
Disaster.
murder of a black person has been.
Right, and so everybody, this is why the NFL does the moment of unity on the field. It's incidences like this that happen. Okay, they're not disrespecting the flag. They're not disrespecting the troops. It's to bring attention to this, which attention should be drawn to it. And God damn it, it's fucking getting old.
Thank you.
I would love to not have to talk about it. I'm tired
Yeah.
of people asking, why are you so ashamed of being white? I'm so sick of having to field that one.
Don't protest. Vote. Protest peacefully. Wait, not like that.
Yeah, not like that. Don't do that. Don't do it.
Shit.
Don't do it on your social media. Don't do it. Don't do it on the field after the anthem. Don't do it during the anthem. Don't do it before the anthem. Don't have the sign on the back of your helmet.
Racism's not a problem anymore.
No, Monday morning.
Or it's a problem everywhere. Why is it a big deal here?
No, swear to God, Monday morning I go into work and the guy knows I'm a NASCAR fan. He goes, "You still watching NASCAR?" I was like, yeah. He goes, "Oh, I'm not." Those N-words ruin it for everybody. says that right out. I'm at 7:30 on a Monday morning. I'm just like,
Did he drop the N word?
oh yeah,
Like the hard R. and
yeah,
everything?
the hard R. Oh my god! And I'm just like, it's not my business, so I can't be like, hey, dude, that's not cool. I just sort of have to roll with the punches there. No, but I hear that more often than you would think.
Oh, I hear it at least once a week in this town. At least, maybe once or twice.
Yeah, but there's no problem with racism, and it's not.
Exist.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. They should just get over it.
That was 450 years ago.
How about when I stop hearing that word, then I'll start to get over it.
Right?
The faggot's this and the wetback's that. And blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
I hear it in the stores and I just listen. I'm not actively engaged, but I hear it. And I'm like, but racism doesn't exist here.
Yeah,
I'm like, racism doesn't exist.
It's just
Homophobia
enraging.
doesn't exist.
You know what? And
Nationalism doesn't exist. When I'm standing in, there's a guy, I've told Steph this story. He was wearing a shirt that said, "Welcome to America, now speak English." And I'm like,
I saw.
how fucking stupid can you make yourself look?
I saw a guy just before I came home. He was in a local supermarket, and he has a China sucks hat on. You know?
What?
Yeah. We have in normal years we have Chinese tourists. I mean, what kind of message are you trying to portray?
Our town's economy is like 70% tourism, and our tourists are like 75% Asian.
Which, on that matter, okay, with this mask mandate, my point of view, and I cannot talk too much about this because hopefully good things are going to happen this week, but with the mask mandate and conversations with the vice mayor, I was having, dude, the mask mandate will get us past this COVID, and then we'll get tourism back, because that's the important part. That's why these businesses downtown are all hurting, is because we don't have the tourism. And you have me, who usually goes downtown to hang out at, local bars and stuff like that. I'm not going out just to be safe. So it's not the mask mandates that are hurting these businesses. It's lack of tourism. It's people being cautious. It's other people being unemployed that lost the $600 a month balances. People don't have money. It's a lot of factors, but it's not the mask mandate. And that's all I'll say about that. Till next week. On a lighter note, has anybody else watched Cobra Kai on Netflix?
No, but I've heard I should.
Yeah, I've been here.
Did you saw the Karate Kid?
I used to have the hugest crush
Oh,
on Ralph Macchio.
You're gonna love this show. You have to watch the show. So it takes place like 35 years after, and it mainly focuses on Johnny. Johnny was the blonde kid in the first one who got that crane kick to the face, and how his life went downhill after that. And now he's an alcoholic. No, this is a brilliant part of this show.
Is it a redemption?
It is. It's a reality. It's a reality redemption of Johnny.
What do we do when we have say the name of the show on the show?
We
Do
drink.
All right, drink up. No, but it's brilliant. It takes Johnny, and you start to feel sympathy for the Johnny character, even though he's a bit of an asshole. Still,
He was a bully.
He was a bully, but like we said earlier, there's reasons why he was like that.
Hurt people.
And the show gets into that a little bit, because his dad was abusive to him, and that's why he became an asshole. But not to ruin the show too much, but and I think you probably know this, is Daniel now has become a bit of a dick.
Oh,
He owns a car dealership. He's a rich guy and stuff like that, and he's not sympathetic to Johnny, who is the bully. And that's a lesson that we tried to learn on this podcast here today, is be nice to the bullies, because they don't want them to grow up to be Johnnies. Then it ruins Johnny's life, and now we have the show Cobra Kai, which is Howard Stern had the best reference for it. He goes, "This is a show that I like, but it makes me want to beat myself with a stick for liking it, because it's cheesy.
So it's like guilty pleasures.
It's one of those guilty pleasure shows, but god damn, I like it." So, Cobra Kai on Netflix, everybody. Hopefully we'll have Snow back next week.
We missed you, Snow.
We missed you.
Yeah. All right, Snow.
Stay cool in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to Jerome.
Are you?
Yes.
Cool.
My birthday's on Tuesday, so
love
me and
to.
Oh,
Ron.
happy birthday.
Thank you. Ronnie and I are going on the creepiest tour in Arizona, except we're doing it backwards. So we're starting in Mesa and ending in Jerome, and we're spending one night at the very haunted Grand Hotel.
Okay. Oh, save that story because coming up in October we're going to do an episode on ghost stories. So.
The Grand Hotel in Jerome is supposed to be one of the most haunted spots in Arizona.
Is
So
that the
I'm
one with the
hoping.
asylum?
It used to be a hospital and an asylum, and
Yeah. I love Jerome.
so I'm excited, and I'm gonna
Probably
bring
where I
my
should be
stuff
right
to
now.
be able to record a podcast. So if we have any activity,
Oh, right. Cool. All right. So this was another episode of the Reality Redemption Podcast. We're rocking on.